Okay, so we will just move on to the next module, and that is regarding security aspects at different layers of the uh, network application, transport, and network layer. We have security measures. So I will just start the preliminary portion. Maybe this terminology would be required later on. So cryptography components, you have a sender, and the original text is called plain text. This should be encrypted and it is transformed to a cipher text. And again it is decrypted and you get the plain text at the receiver. So we need an encryption algorithm here. And it will encrypt this plain text using a key. So there is a encryption key. For decryption, again we need a decryption algorithm, a decryption key, and this cipher text. Now key is a number or set of numbers that the cipher as an algorithm operates on. This algorithm is called a cipher. So if this operates on some set of numbers, it is called the key. So we have a symmetric key and asymmetric key. So here it's written secret key, here it's public. So symmetric key cryptography, the key is shared secret key. The same key is used by the both parties. Normally we have Alice and Bob, and he is the hacker, the person in between, trying to uh, make threats to this communication. So this is the normal uh, people we find in cryptography. The same key is used by both parties. It is a secret one. In symmetric key cryptography, the same key is used by the sender for encryption and the receiver for decryption. The key is shared. Now in asymmetric key, so there are two keys, a private key and a public key. So the private key is kept by receiver. Okay. Private key is kept by receiver. The public key is announced to the public. So Alice has the public key and that is announced to the public. Bob is announcing it to the public. It is available with Alice also. So using this public key, Alice would encrypt this message. And when this message is received by Bob, the private key is used to decrypt the message, which is available only with Bob. So this is asymmetric key cryptography. So these are the icons normally followed in the text. Symmetric key, you have this icon, and here asymmetric key, the public key is this one, and this is the private key. So this is just shows the comparison. It's like you have a lock and a key, and you can unlock with a key. So here you lock with the public key, and it is unlocked with the private key. That is the asymmetric key cryptography. We'll just see some uh, introductory portions only of this cryptography. Symmetric key cryptography started very long back. Example, during a war, etc. They need to exchange secrets, so they had their own methods. But we still make use of these techniques in cryptography, and ciphers are the algorithms. So how it developed. So nowadays we have modern ciphers, but how it developed. So how modern ciphers developed. So initially traditional ciphers either is substituted or you did transposition. So substitution cipher replaces one symbol with another. So that itself, say this is somehow substituted from this one. Maybe some rule is followed. So it would be up converted by some elements. Here it is monoalphabetic means both occurrences of L have the same substitution. Both occurrences of L are encrypted as here. So we substitute one character for another character. In monoalphabetic, both L's are substituted by same character. However, in the other one, you have a different substitution. So here, one L is substituted by another one, another L is substituted by another one. So L is encrypted by different character. First L is encrypted as N, second as Z. So those are these two. Basically, you have some mapping to so that others don't understand. However, here both else as substituted with same letter. Here it is different. So we need a rule for that. The shift cipher is sometimes referred to as Caesar cipher. So we had used this shift cipher. Simplest monoalpha. We generally use it. Say, you have a key 15 means H you increase alphabetically by 15 you get W. E you get I and you shift it after reset you take it A. Like that you get this. You increase up by 15. With 15 characters down. Down means towards Z. And while decryption, you do it in the reverse. You do it upwards. So you just shift it. So that was how this was done. And when this is received, you do the reverse one. You do shifting 15 characters up, you get it back. So this is the earliest form. Now transposition cipher reorders or permutes the symbol in a block of symbols. So here, this is another way in which this first one would be shifted, reordered to third one, second one would be reordered to first one, third one to fourth, and fourth one to second. And that is, if this is the encryption, decryption, you go in the reverse. So this set of numbers forms the key. This set of numbers, this mapping forms the key. So this is the transposition cipher. Key is mapped between position of the symbols in plain text and ciphertext. So these are the traditional ones, substitution and transposition. Now, we move on to the modern ciphers. So traditional ciphers are character oriented. They operate on character. And now the modern ciphers are bit oriented. Why? Because the encrypted data is not just the text. Could be numbers, graphics, audio, video, data, anything. So it would be bits ultimately, ones and zeros. So previously we had only text to be transmitted, but now we have all these graphics, audio, video. So elementary there will be bits, ones and zeros. So we are operating on data, on modern cycles. So there would be an XOR, a symbol one. So block, so we need two data for XORing. One would be the block to be encrypted or the plain text, and other would be the key of same length. So you convert the plain text and then do the XORing of the bits with the key. So the size of the key, the block, plain text block and ciphertext all are same. We are doing XOR. The XOR has a property that encryption and decryption would be same. Now again, bits are rotated. This is another way of indicating this modern cipher in which instead of characters you get bits. Now a little bit advanced ciphers. Two modern symmetric key ciphers. So symmetric key means there is a secret key. Okay, it is communicated from the sender to the receiver. One is DES. So that is the data encryption algorithm security. Data I have written the name here. Data encryption standard. Data encryption standard. So that is DES. So this is this DES. So this is a little bit advanced version. We come to AES later. So we have these are called block ciphers. So they divide plain text into blocks. Now DES was the de facto standard. De facto means they are evolved and naturally they become the industry standard. So someone starts it and everyone accepts it and that somehow becomes the standard. That's the de facto standard. Now AES has taken over as the formal standard now. So this is the data encryption standard. Now they are round ciphers. Round ciphers means there are many rounds. Okay. There are many rounds or many iterations. They are round ciphers. So they involve multiple rounds. Okay. Where each round is a complex cipher made up of simple ciphers. Each round you have complex ciphers, which are made up of simple ciphers. Ciphers are the algorithm. Now if a cipher has n rounds, a key generator produces n keys. Say K B2 Z, K1, K1 to like that to Z, K1 to KZ. So K1 is the key for round 1 and Kn is the key for round n. So K1 to K16 for 16 rounds and the key generator would be there. So here it is 64-bit plain text a block with the data encryption standard. You have a 64-bit key and then you have this keys for each round and each round is a complicated cipher and finally you get the cipher. So this is one round. So each round is a complicated thing cipher. So these are the operations going on in this. We will not go deeper into this. We just want to know the structure. So each round has a cipher like that n rounds and for each round you have a key and the same length you have this plain text block and you finally get after many rounds you get the cipher. Now little more advanced. So you have triple data encryption standard like for 10 rounds you have 128-bit keys. Next again 12 rounds you have 192-bit keys. 14 rounds 256-bit keys. So maybe 36 rounds. So each you have 10 rounds. So many rounds and triple DES is there. A bit more. The key size is enhanced. Key size is increased. Oh, that is for this AES. Advanced encryption standard. Advanced encryption standard, you have larger key size and structure of each round is complicated. So in round 1 itself, you have this much of structure here and you have a key. And like that, you have 10 rounds for this 128. Like that, you have 10 rounds for 128. So this is an advanced encryption standard in which some shortcomings are there in this ES, data encryption standard, because the key size is small. It's only 64 bits. So when you have this attached, etc., you need a more uh, encryption rounds and you need more key size. And AES is advanced encryption standard that has three different configurations with respect to number of rounds and as well as to number of the key size. So that is basically regarding number of with regards to number of rounds and with regards to key size. You have uh, different configurations, and I have just shown one configuration of 128 bit in which there are 10 rounds, and in which each round is a cipher like this. So that is how this DES and AES works. Both are symmetric. Okay. Both are symmetric. And we have asymmetric key, in which there is a public key, and using the public key, Alice would send it, and Bob would use the private key. And there are two standards you need to know that these are names of the inventors, abbreviated RSA and Diffie-Hellman. So finally, this looks like this. There is some mode operation, some parameters are there. You do the encryption. There is decryption. There are parameters. So it's a bit involved. So in RSA, E and N are announced to be public. D and phi are kept secret. So I haven't written down these steps exactly, but some P and Q are used, and then this phi is generated, and so this is how this is done. So there is a public key. So these are all set of numbers. These are set of numbers, and some parameters are there. So phi is the thing to be encrypted. So many rounds, etc., would be there. So certain parameters are known to public, and certain parameters are private. Now this value of this can be found out. Now the Bob, he uses the private key. So this private key is this phi, and he, that can be generated. And we are not going into details of this. And the other protocol, the second protocol in asymmetric is Diffie-Hellman. Here also there is some structure to generate the key and parameters, and this is how this goes on. So, so that is just the introductory part. And we, at the earlier times itself, there is during war, etc. We had this method of making it secret, and that communication was done. That was later on extended. That all were character based, and later those were extended to this bit based, and modern ciphers evolved from that. So basically, some XORing and some keys which are set of numbers, and some rounds, and the key length, and varying rounds for different key length, and some each round you have some structure. So that is the basic. Just you need to know about this cryptography. Now, we are now going to the security services. So, network security. So, network security is to be provided at network layer. It is to be provided at the transport layer. It is to be provided at the application layer. So, what are the services which network security provides? So, there are actually 5 services which network security provides. We just see what are the requirements. So what are the services this network security should provide? So 4 of these are related to message exchange, and 5th service provide NDT authentication. So We'll just see what are the first one is message confidentiality. So good privacy technique should guarantee that potential intruder or eavesdropper cannot understand the contents of the message. Okay. The message should be confidential and eavesdropper should not understand the contents of the message. So this can be done using either symmetric key cryptography or asymmetric key cryptography. So this is how we achieve message confidentiality. Now message integrity. So the data at the receiver should be same as what was sent. Okay. So it should not change during transmission, either accidentally or maliciously. Someone purposefully should not be able to change the data. You are transferring some amount and it should not be changed to a larger amount. So that integrity should be maintained. So one aspect is the secrecy or confidentiality. Second aspect is integrity. So the data at the receiver should be the same as what was transmitted. So one way to preserve the integrity of the document is through use of a fingerprint. So basically we have digital methods, electronic equivalent of document and fingerprint pair. Okay, is the message and message digest pair. You have a document and a fingerprint. The electronic equivalent is message and message digest. Now to preserve integrity of a message, the message is passed through an algorithm. Okay. And we need to generate a fingerprint, and that algorithm is called a hash function. So hash function creates a compressed image of the message that can be used as fingerprint. So to preserve the integrity of a document, both the document and fingerprint are needed. So electronically, you need document and the fingerprint needed. So you ask the message to a hash function and you generate a message digest, which is the fingerprint. So message and message digest. So message is either kept secret in a safe place or encrypted. We need to send it through a communication channel. So we need to send it through a communication channel. Message and message digest are there. So message and digest both are sent. This digest is obtained by this hash function. So the so actually you need to ensure that the data is correct. Data is correct. That is message integrity. Now receiver creates hash function again. So whatever is sent, this receiver has a method to create the hash function and compare the new message digest with the one received. So it is already receiving a digest here and it can generate this digest and it can check whether both are same and discard or accept. So if both are same, receiver is sure that the original message has not been changed. We assume digest has been sent secretly. That is how this integrity is ensured. So there are many hash algorithms. One is secure hash algorithm 1. Okay. That is SHA-1, which is a revised version of secure hash algorithm designed by National Institute of Standards and Technology. They have developed this algorithm, and SHA-1 is one such function to create digest. And here we have a means of generating hash function and digest and again checking. So then message integrity we can have. So the services which are required by the network securities, one is confidentiality, integrity, and next one is authentication. Authentication means a receiver needs to be sure of the sender's identity and that an imposter has not sent the message. So the Bob should ensure that it is Alice itself who has sent. So he should ensure, he should authenticate. So that is this function, message authentication. So Alice needs to provide proof that it is Alice sending the message and it is not an imposter. Okay. Now the hash function we saw earlier is not suited for this. It cannot provide a proof. The digest created by a hash function is normally called a modification detection code. The code can detect any modification in the message. So what we saw earlier was a modification detection code which will ensure only integrity. Now to provide authentication, we need to change the modification in detection code to message authentication code. We need this function. We need this authentication aspect, and an MDC uses keyless hash function and MAC uses a keyed hash function. So we have electronic means of authentication. Modified authentication code is created by Alice and checked by Bob. So here you have a modified authentication code function which should generate a modified authentication code and it is sent along with the message. And now it can be verified. Authentication can be done. Alice using symmetric key and keyed hash function. So the other one did not use a keyed hash function. Used a keyless hash function. This uses a keyed hash function, generates a message authentication code, then concatenates this MAC with the original message. So the original message as well as the MAC. Now bot separates MAC from the message from the MAC and then combines with the MAC sent by Alice if identical message has not been modified and sender is definitely Alice. So it's not it is authentication. So if both authentication which is derived here and which is sent and received are same, this bot can ensure that it is authenticated and Alice itself has sent it. Now another one is digital signature. Although a MAC can provide message integrity and message authentication, it has certain drawbacks. It needs a symmetric key that must be established between sender and receiver. So whenever you have symmetric key, it needs to be established between sender and receiver. So digital signature can use a pair of asymmetric keys. So asymmetric means a public and a private. So digital signature needs a public key system. Now this is the method of signing a document and this is the method of digital signature. So what happens is when Alice sends a message to Bob, so this we are continuing with the authentication part. We are seeing this MAC, message authentication code. Apart from that, we have this digital signature. So Bob needs to check the authenticity of the sender. He needs to be sure that message comes from Alice and not he. He is the third person in between. So Bob can ask Alice to sign the message electronically. In other words, an electronic signature can prove the authenticity of Alice as the sender of the message. We refer to this type of signature as digital signature. So it also provides integrity. It also provides authentication. Integrity means the data must not change. Authenticity is the sender is confirmed, authentication. So there are two more aspects which I didn't include here. So we will consider that in next class. So message non-repudiation is basically if Alice has sent a message for transferring some amount and something was transferred and later on Alice should not deny that she had sent that I did not send. So that aspect is this message non-repudiation and this is another aspect NDP authentication. So we will see these two in the next class and then continue next class. Thank you. Thank you and attendance. And anything you can put here. Next class you can just most probably Monday I may be taking class, but there is again